I can't say enough of how this center influenced me and the benefits that my wife got from it. I thought nobody can take care of her like me, and I knew I had to do something for my family. It's in their hearts that they want to provide the care for the people that deserve it here.
Hello, and welcome to Road to Recovery, the show that offers hope and help and healing and wholeness to those who are struggling with addiction, or maybe a family member or friend who is got a loved one who is going through the addiction struggle and traveling on this road to recovery. It's a blessing to have you with us today. Thank you for choosing to check out Road to Recovery today, and we trust that you will be encouraged and challenged by our time together. We love to bring individuals into the studio who have a lot of experience and knowledge and background in this area, and that is the case today. My name is Steve Rao, and I have the privilege of co-hosting with Tricia Saunders, the Executive Director of the Recovery Center. Welcome back to Road to Recovery.
Well, thank you, Steve. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Excellent.
And it is a privilege to have you here. You're one of those individuals who has knowledge and skill and experience and really a passion to help those who are going through this struggle.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
The Recovery Center, new location, 201 South Columbus Street. They can be contacted 687-4500. We brought a guest with us today who is one such individual who has some great experience. Would you introduce our guest today?
I certainly will. Our guest today is Nida Reid-Williamson, and you work at Job and Family Services with the Reentry Coalition. So welcome, and thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Reentry Coalition Coordinator. What does that mean?
Well, what that means is that I help individuals who have been incarcerated, whether it's in the local prisons or jails, or Fairfield County residents who have been incarcerated. And what we do is we go into those institutions and work with those individuals who are within 3 to 6 months of their release, or in the jails. Of course, that's a lot quicker of turnaround. And we start working with them, helping them identify any barriers or maybe some areas where they need a little bit of help or guidance. And we help them with linkage to community services, helping them with that support and encouragement, going through that very difficult time of being incarcerated, being away from family, really helping them through that time and helping them back on their feet, helping them pick that direction where they can get their lives back on track, they can become productive citizens, and just really kind of get refocused.
And it really can be a prime time to work with somebody who's been incarcerated because they a lot of times have the motivation to make a change at that point.
Very much so.
However, if you don't have any resources to make those changes, it would be extremely challenging.
Yeah, and that's something we see with our customers a lot. We see individuals who have truly seen that they have made some bad choices and put themselves in some situations where they really didn't want to be and hurt their family and hurt the community, and they really do want to change and they don't want to have to go back to that. And a lot of those individuals are coming out to really nothing. A lot of them don't even have family and friends that can help them with giving them a place to stay when they get out. So there's a lot of very serious barriers that they face. So even someone who is very truly committed to change and truly committed to getting back on their feet, it can be very, very difficult. And without the support of the community, without support of people like the coalition, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's definitely a lot more difficult for them.
But one of the things we talk about on this program is to have people to come alongside and offer that support, and you're certainly one of those. I'd like to ask you a little bit more about that, but I want to learn a little bit more about Nida Reid-Williamson. Where are you from originally?
Well, I'm originally from the Fairfield County area, bounced around, kind of a country girl.
I see.
So
Very
around
good.
the area, yeah.
And how long have you been involved in this process working at Job and Family Services?
I've been at Job and Family Services for going on 12 years now. I've had the opportunity to work in workforce development for several of those years, so really learning to work with employers and job seekers and learning really how to bring the two of them together. I started working, of course, specifically with the reentry population because there's a lot of the population out there in the workforce that are unemployed or underemployed that are having a lot of difficulty difficulty getting good jobs, something they can really provide for their family due to a blemish on their background, even if it's 20 years ago, that has severe consequences to their job search. So I started working more closely with the population kind of through that avenue, and I had an opportunity to get involved with the coalition. The coalition was actually started in May of 2010, so that's really when the community decided as a group, a committed group of individuals, to come together, create a strategic plan, identify, in our community, what are the barriers that this population is facing, and what are the things that we do have the power to change. Obviously, money is something that everyone in our community struggles with, so it's a matter of how can we work together and make use of what we already have in our community, and how can we advocate for individuals who do want to change and help make that process easier for them to accomplish. Again, being supportive and encouragement, and making sure they're getting the services that they need.
I really just keep going back to what you said about what it would be like to walk out of a jail and have nothing. No place to go.
No place to go.
No food. No
friends.
shelter. Yeah, right. No employment. And then we expect people to get better and make changes in their life. So what you do is so valuable.
Thank you.
Yeah, walk us through that process. Let's say I've been at Southeastern Correctional Institution, got a 3-year sentence. I'm 3 months away from getting out of prison, and my family, I've been isolated from them. All the friends I know are not the right people that I need to be hanging out with. I'm not sure where I'm going to live. I need to get a job, and I'd like to reconnect with my children. All of those things, I don't even know where to start. What would you do for me as a Reentry Coalition coordinator?
Well, what we would do is we would have you pass to our resource center. We actually have a center inside the prison, our local prison here, and we pass every Fairfield County inmate at least once, because participating with the coalition, of course, is voluntary. So we do want to help everyone that we can, but it is voluntary. So we would ask you to come down. We would introduce ourselves, tell you a little bit about what we could do for you, ask you, do you already have a place to stay? Kind of get a feel of what things do you already have worked out, and kind of how comfortable you are. A lot of the individuals, they have absolutely nowhere to start. They have no idea where to go. I had one gentleman, it was very sad, but he was having panic attacks because he was getting out in a week, and he just felt this extreme stress and anxiety. Not that he didn't want to go home, of course, so to speak, come back to the community. He wanted to be able to get reconnected with his family. He wanted to, get a job and be productive again, but he was so scared about, coming out and trying to avoid those people, places, and things, not having anything to go from. So there's even people like that are just so, worried and so upset about that we just try to meet with you on a regular basis and kind of start small and say, okay, let's talk about the first thing that really kind of worries you the most, and let's talk about what our options are for that. So, we try to baby step them along if at all possible, especially if they're very, very overwhelmed, because sometimes even giving people a tremendous amount of information can be overwhelming, and we don't want to make that worse. So we would just continue to meet with you and talk with you about any concerns you have, work with your case manager to make sure if there's any referrals that we need to make or any appointments that we need to arrange, that we're able to do that. Of course, have you sign releases so we can, of course, do that.
Right.
But really just help you get an actual plan together that addresses housing, employment. We would work with you on a resume, helping you get a resume, talk to you about how to job search appropriately, how to answer that question on applications about your background, and really just take one thing at a time and just try to knock as many of them we can out before you get out, and make sure that we follow up with you on the outside and we continue to meet until you feel comfortable.
That's great. Are we starting to see more employers being willing to hire people who have been
Yes.
in jail, prison?
Thankfully, yes. The coalition has worked with several of the community employers and talking to them about the true limits of liability, because that's really oftentimes a concern for employers, is that perceived liability for those individuals' actions. We've had the privilege of having Stephen Johnson Grove, who is an attorney from Cincinnati who specializes in employment law, and specifically with reentry population. He's come and spoke to our local employers every year. Also, he's been very instrumental with our coalition and other members across the state with passing, the House Bill 86 and the Senate Bill 337 that really helps encourage employers to use the incentive programs to hire ex-offenders and to give them the chance. We're not asking all the employers to go out and hire every single ex-offender. That's definitely not it. But just simply provide individual consideration. Look at them as a person. What skills do they have? And see what they've been doing going since they made that mistake, and then make your decision.
Yeah, and what processes have they put in place to avoid getting in that
Exactly.
situation again?
Yes.
And I think you can make a wise decision in that process. One of the things you don't provide is financial help. It's not like Nida Reid-Williamson's coming with a checkbook and say, you know, here's some money, now go out and find you a place and get you a job and buy a car and whatever. That's really not what you provide.
No, I wish I did. I wish I had a tree that I had the funds to be able to make sure that everyone had a home instead of having to stay at the shelters, you know, or make other types of arrangements, you know, going from friends or acquaintances. But we don't. We do not have funds at the coalition to provide services. We rely on our community partners to work together. So we're not asking our community partners to provide anything that they don't already provide. We're just asking for a coordination. So we work closely with the Recovery Center and all the other social service agencies in the community. We just help that individual kind of navigate and say, you know, these are the shelters that are available in the community. If we don't have any other options on the table, well, these are the shelters that are available, you know, and we'll make a call out to the shelter. And, you know, Becky, love her down at Fairhaven Shelter, of course. They have great programs down there, and just help them kind of navigate that process, because it can be very scary, and, you know, that's a difficult thing to have to go through.
Yeah, no question about that. I know one of the other hats that you wear over there at Job and Family Services is part of the Fatherhood initiative. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we have a program called the PTOC Grant, and what that is helping individuals that are coming into the office to establish child support orders. So at the time of an initial child support order, we're going to be offering a parenting time order. So in Ohio, of course, parenting time and child support's always kind of been separate issues, even though when you're looking at a family perspective, it really, that individual parent, whether it's the mother or father that's not the custodial parent, their time with their children is just as valuable and just as important as their financial support of that child. So what we are doing is we're offering parenting time orders for those couples that are able to make agreements on accepting the local Rule 17 for visitation and parenting. And we are actually filing that order along with their child support order so that they wouldn't have to incur the cost themselves to go file that at a court separately or get an attorney, because a lot of people, you know, they can't afford to hire an attorney to do things like that.
My understanding from that too is that fathers a lot of times are concerned with being able to make their child support payments, and then that when they have more time with their children, they are more invested in doing so, and also that there could be some help with that, making their their payments manageable. And
part of that process is, you know, we want the relationship with that non-custodial parent to continue to be close with child support, because someone that is in contact with child support and really trying to work to make contributions, they will be reasonable and try to help them and give them that time to get back on their feet. And the thing about the parenting time is a lot of our even reentry population, they're you know, behind on child support from being incarcerated. You know, with changes in the Senate bill, there's a lot of the consequences and opportunities for making arrangements so that they're still going to be obligated to pay their child support, because that's their contribution and support of their child. However, it's reasonable so that doesn't become a barrier to them. And the fatherhood practice also makes sure that that father or mother is part of that child's life, because it's a proven fact. Research after research shows that a non-custodial parent that is engaged and involved in their child's life not only pays and supports their child financially, but the emotional support that that child has is truly priceless.
It's a powerful prevention tool, so that their children don't end up on the road to recovery because they've avoided addiction or maybe avoided incarceration and those kinds of things. We've got about a minute left. If folks would like to get a hold of Nida Reid-Williamson or the Reentry Coalition, or maybe learn a little bit more about fatherhood, what's the best way for them to get information on these kinds of resources that are available?
Well, we have a couple of different options. They can go to the website, which is www.fcjfs.org. And on the left-hand side, you can see the Reentry Coalition, and click on that. You can learn all about the Reentry Coalition, and it has our contact information. And also on there is the child supports community pages, and you can learn about our new up-and-coming PTOC program. And then also individuals can contact me at 740-652-7671.
super.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the Road to Recovery show. We
Thanks for
really
having
appreciate
me.
it. Thank you for the work you do. You really do care about these individuals and families that are on this road to recovery, and it can't happen if people don't come alongside and provide that assistance. So thank you for being one of those people that provides that assistance.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we do appreciate all you do, and we both look forward to working with you on these initiatives in the future.
Outstanding. Absolutely, we do. It really is what is so wonderful about this community, that people come together, work together, and make it better for our own residents here
Absolutely.
in Lancaster and Fairfield County. Thank you for joining us for this Road to Recovery program. We've been speaking with Nida Reid-Williamson, the Reentry Coordinator at Job and Family Services. Thank you for the work that you're doing to make our community better, and that we partner together to make a difference in our community. Again, you can contact the Recovery Center at 687-4500. Join us next time as we continue to journey down this road to recovery.
That's low. That's low. That's low. Look, he's blushing.